Hello, Shudder lovers! Today I am going to explain Conjuring 4, also known as Conjuring, The Last Rite, which has been released recently. Now, the pictures of this movie are not available, so I will use all the pictures from the trailer itself, so it may happen that some scenes here are not completely accurate, but since pictures are not available, I can't do anything about it. And yes, this is the last movie of the Conjuring franchise. Don't expect that another one will come after this, because it is clear that this is the final film. So the movie begins with the case of April 20th, 1964, that is, 1964, when the Warrens had just started their paranormal investigation journey. They are at an antiques and vintage shop, where a girl named Victoria had called the Warrens. Victoria tells them that her father used to hear some voices in the storeroom, and one day, suddenly, he hanged himself and ended his life. At first, Victoria didn't believe in paranormal things, but after a few days of silence, Victoria also started hearing strange voices. She felt as if someone was calling her from the storeroom. Now, Lorraine directly goes into the storeroom, where she sees an antique and ancient mirror that looked evil just by appearance. On it there were four strange, small childlike creatures carved. The point to notice here was that Lorraine was pregnant. Now suddenly Lorraine feels something, and as soon as she touches the mirror, she realizes that there is a spirit there that is scared. But then Lorraine also senses something evil. A crack mark suddenly appears on the mirror, and Lorraine gets glimpses of her baby and her own future. It was like this demonic power had kind of marked the baby. Now suddenly Lorraine starts experiencing sharp pain in her stomach, and Ed immediately admits her to the hospital. It was raining heavily outside, but what happens is that the baby girl is born dead, and Lorraine feels the presence of evil there. The lights even went out. All the doctors were scared. Now Lorraine prays to God, and after 1 minute, this baby becomes alive again, which was nothing less than a miracle. This baby was named Judy, and we all know that Lorraine is a descendant of Saint Lucy. So Judy's survival was destined. God had listened to her. Or it could also be said that instead of God's power, indirectly, some other power had listened. The Warrens move away from this case, as Lorraine wanted to keep Judy safe. Now we see many childhood memories of Judy, how the Warrens spent very good moments with their daughter. Along with that, they solved more than 1,000 cases, but they never involved Judy in it. They always tried to keep her away. The reason for this was that, as we all know, Lorraine is a medium, just like Sister Irene. So Judy, since childhood, also had the power to see ghosts, spirits, evil, and past moments. She used to run to her mother out of fear because she would see scary things. So Lorraine taught her one thing: say Abracadabra. Say this, and these things are not real, so they will run away with this. Judy would relax, and she kept doing this even as she grew older. Time passes. The world was advancing. The year becomes 1986. That is 1986, West Pittston, Pennsylvania. Then we see the Smurl family, who had bought a new 2-story house. Everyone was very happy. This scene looked exactly like the house setup in Conjuring 2, and considering the number of family members, it also reminded us of Conjuring 1. It was a very good reference. There were 9 members in this family: Jack's parents, John and Mary Smurl, Jack's son and daughter-in-law, Jack and Janet Smurl, Jack and Janet's 4 daughters. Their names were Dawn, Heather, and the youngest twin sisters, Sharon and Karen, and the 9th member was their dog named Simon. Now it was Heather's birthday, and her grandfather John had purchased an antique mirror for her, which shockingly was the same mirror from the beginning scene, the Lorraine Warren one. In fact, that crack was still present on it till today, and it was very creepy as well. John said he got it very cheaply, as the people who were selling it couldn't fit it in, that we all know that they were surely trying to get rid of it, because wherever this mirror would go, it would definitely bring destruction. Now Heather was about to cut the cake, but suddenly someone else blew out the candles, and the ceiling broke and fell down, injuring Heather badly. That means the evil had shown its power. As soon as it came, it didn't wait at all. In the other movies these things happen slowly, but here it happens suddenly. Then we are shown a warning that this is the most dangerous true event of the Warrens, which even ended the Warrens' career. Now we see the Warrens giving their usual lecture about Annabelle, but we see that along with Judy, some other kids were also in the audience, who indirectly made fun of the Warrens, and left. Because the world was moving forward, people didn't believe in these things anymore. The biggest thing was that ever since Ed had a heart attack, they had stopped taking cases. Now the Warrens go out for dinner together, but suddenly Judy and Lorraine both feel that something has awakened. Suddenly the hauntings increase, and on Judy's shoulder, a hand of some entity appears. Seeing this, both mother and daughter were scared, but they tried to remain calm. Both of them chant the Abracadabra rhyme and try to avoid these things, as they didn't want to face any evil. Meanwhile, inside the Smurl house, a doll named Susie, starts making noise on its own, which was the twin sister's doll. Then Janet, who was washing clothes, suddenly feels a presence inside the basement. This doll was also scaring her in her room. Then when Janet was talking to someone on the phone, someone starts pulling the phone wire from the pantry. Janet thought it was the kids, but the kids were playing on the other side. Now suddenly the phone gets pulled inside, but when Janet turns on the light, there was no one there, which really scared her. Now the next haunting happens with one of the twin sisters. The Susie doll suddenly levitates in the air, and behind it was the ghost of an old grandmother. The child gets scared and runs away. Then Jack comes back home from work at night, and the child was telling everyone about this haunting, but no one believes her. But Janet deep inside knew that something was definitely there. Everyone thought that the grandmother must have played, but we know it wasn't so. That old woman's ghost was someone else entirely. Then we see Heather and Dawn talking. Heather says she doesn't like that mirror. Ever since it came, there have been problems. But Dawn mocks Heather, saying she looks exactly like those figures on the mirror. But even after teasing her, being a sister, she helps Heather, and together they pick up the mirror at night and throw it in the garbage heap. They thought that since the mirror came, bad things were happening. The next morning, everyone is having breakfast, very happy. But then the garbage truck comes outside, and it starts taking away the mirror. As soon as the garbage truck's trunk closes, this mirror shatters into pieces. But we all know evil doesn't go away like that. Suddenly Dawn starts vomiting blood, and the broken pieces of the mirror start coming out of her mouth.
That means evil was indirectly taunting her that she was nothing against its power, and shouldn't try to act over smart. The Smurl family immediately rushes Dawn to the hospital, and this was the first moment when the Smurl family started believing that surely some evil force was present in the house. Now we see Ed in the hospital, where the doctors clearly say that Ed won't survive another heart attack. He has to change his lifestyle and food. But Ed, being Ed, doesn't listen to the doctor. Now Judy had already told her parents about her boyfriend Tony, that he would come to the birthday party, and that they had been dating for 6 months. But Ed was not very happy about it. Now Edie's birthday comes. There was a big party at home. Judy and Tony arrived together where Tony seemed very nervous. Now at the party, we also see Father Gordon, who was very close to the Warrens. He even considered Judy as his own child. Now Judy introduces Tony to her parents and to Father Gordon, and we find out that Tony was previously in the police, but something happened due to which he left the job and currently he was looking for work. Now we see Ed showing some people his museum, but Tony, seeing this from afar, gets quite scared, as this family was a bit different. Then Judy sits alone in a room looking at pictures of her past, looking at her childhood. But then she sees a rocking chair moving, and on it was the Annabelle doll. Judy tries to calm herself again when Tony comes and comforts her. Now Tony and Judy kiss, but suddenly Lorraine comes in, which makes the atmosphere very awkward. Lorraine had actually come to call Tony to play table tennis. So Tony goes to Ed, but Lorraine talks to Judy asking what's the matter, why are hauntings happening so frequently these days, and that too so dangerously. Judy doesn't say anything, but Lorraine warns her, my child, stay away from these things. They ruin lives. Even Lorraine herself regretted it all her life. She said these things mess up the mind. Now outside we see Ed and Tony playing table tennis, where Ed beats Tony by 3 points. But Ed's condition had become very bad. His heart had become very weak. Judy goes outside for a while. Then we see Tony talking to Warren, saying he really loves Judy. He had brought a ring for marriage, wanting to propose. Lorraine was very happy to see the ring. In fact, she even touched Tony's hand. Maybe she felt that Tony really did love her daughter and she was ready for marriage. But Ed was still skeptical. Tony tells that he had bought the ring very early when he first met Judy. He knew she was the one. Lorraine was shy and happy. It also happens that they too had a similar kind of marriage, but Ed was worried about his daughter. Obviously, after what had happened in his childhood, he loved his daughter very deeply. Suddenly we see Max, a character from the Conjuring 1 who was with Judy. Now as soon as Judy arrived, the ring somehow slipped down, and the whole atmosphere unintentionally turned into a proposal moment. Judy happily said yes immediately, because she had been waiting for this moment for so long. But Ed still wasn't happy. Meanwhile, we see Father Gordon bidding farewell at the Warrens' place. But Father Gordon had actually come to the party for something special, and that was to talk about the Smurl family. They had been suffering from hauntings for months, and the Smurl family had spoken to a priest. That priest then told Father Gordon, and that's why he came to the Warrens. Ed was ready for it, but Lorraine flatly refused, saying they would not get involved. Disappointed, Father Gordon had to leave, saying that they should at least think about it now. The scene shifts directly to the Smurl family's house, where the problems had increased a lot. Jack would return home at night as usual, but this time his face was downcast. The whole family was terrified. Since the vomiting incident, Dawn was badly shaken. She even shouted at her father, asking why they couldn't just stay in a hotel or somewhere else. But they didn't have that much money, and this evil force wouldn't let them go anywhere. The biggest thing was that this evil was only hurting and scaring them, not killing them, because if it wanted to kill them, it would have ended the game long ago. One night, when everyone was asleep, suddenly Jack was levitated into the air by some evil force. His throat started getting choked too. This scene looked exactly like the Bathsheba scene in the Conjuring 1. Meanwhile, Heather was watching the videotape of her birthday and confirmation day. She paused it and noticed an entity beside her that had blown out the candles. And then this entity, the man with long hair holding an axe, started coming toward Heather to kill her. Heather screamed loudly. Upstairs, Janet woke up and saw Jack being attacked. Janet rescued Jack, and because of the noise downstairs, everyone rushed to see Heather. Heather was terrified. At that moment, Dawn taunted everyone, saying now that it had happened to them, they finally believed she wasn't lying. And that was it. Janet and Jack went to the media, and this case spread like wildfire. Everyone was told how this family was being haunted in such a way, living through death-like scenes every day. The Warrens hadn't seen this news yet. Judy's wedding had already been fixed, and she went to a designer named Brenda. Brenda, however, shut off the news because she didn't want her business ruined, or the Warrens, who had already quit this work, to get dragged back in. Brenda then took Judy into the changing room after she tried on her dress to check the fitting. But then Brenda had to step out because her assistant wasn't picking up the phone. The room was covered with mirrors on all sides. Suddenly, Judy felt someone's presence. The door opened and Judy thought it was Brenda, but it wasn't hiding behind her dress. It came out it was the ghost of the same old lady from the Smurl family, meaning all of this was somehow connected. This ghost started moving toward Judy. It even touched her, but with the chant of Akkad Bakad Bambi Bo, it disappeared. Suddenly, Judy saw that her evil version inside the mirror was choking her, which terrified her. Just then, Lorraine and Brenda entered. Lorraine was extremely shaken because it had been a long time since such hauntings had happened. Meanwhile, the media was covering all this, and we saw that Mary Janet, Jack's mother, suffered a heart attack. She was rushed to the hospital. At the same time, Father Gordon, without informing the church, came to help the Smurl family, traveling all the way from Connecticut. He sprinkled holy water in the basement, but the water instantly evaporated, confirming that there was indeed something evil present. He even saw something scared. He came out and said this place held something very dangerous, and the bishop must be consulted immediately to solve the case. Promising to return, he went straight to Bishop McKenna. His entry into the church was exactly like the Exorcist movie scene, which was very impressive. This movie has several elements borrowed from other films, which only true horror fans would recognize. The bishop's assistant and secretary asked Father Gordon to wait, but suddenly blood started dripping from his nose. Outside, a wire cord began pulling itself, and the secretary suddenly disappeared. A phone rang. It was Judy's phone. The voice said, "It's enough now, your work is done, you can go." Basically, it was the demon mocking Father Gordon, saying his end was near. Suddenly, the whole room shut and turned dark. The knob on the door, which had a holy cross on it, flipped upside out on its own, a sign of demonic entry. This meant the demonic entity was very powerful. It now advanced toward Father Gordon. Father tried to stop it by raising his holy cross, but suddenly the cross caught fire. His hand burned and Father fell into possession. Then Father Gordon used the same tightened wire cord to hang himself, ending his life. This was shocking for everyone. Meanwhile, Ed was showing Tony all the artifacts in his museum, explaining that these were their life's work. They had trapped evil inside these objects, like keeping a genie in a bottle, and this way they could remain safe. If these were broken, the evil would target someone else. These objects were blessed daily to keep the demonic entities calm. Tony was shocked to hear that the Warrens had solved over 1,000 cases. Suddenly, Lorraine and Judy arrived, informing them that Father Gordon had passed away. Everyone was heartbroken at his funeral. Lorraine felt deeply saddened, but when Judy touched his grave, she saw something that frightened her. Then Father Jangler told the Warrens that even though their image was tarnished in the church and media, Father Gordon always praised them for their honesty and genuine help. Judy then asked where Father Gordon had gone before his death. He revealed that Gordon had gone to Pennsylvania to the Smurl house. Judy's vision, and this information matched perfectly. At home, Lorraine was washing dishes when she had a vision. Judy's locket fell into the sink filled with blood and the whole kitchen flooded with it. Ed calmed her and Lorraine realized Judy's life was in danger. Just then Tony arrived and told them Judy had gone to Pennsylvania to the Smurl house. The Warrens had already decided not to take this case and wanted to bring Judy straight home. But Jack and Janet were overjoyed to see the Warrens finally arrive, hoping for help. They explained they had gone to the media only for assistance, but instead everyone misunderstood them. "Please help us," they begged. But the Warrens started to leave with Judy. Judy, however, stayed back and explained to her mother that she had always helped others, so why not this family? Look at their condition. She admitted she never understood before why they did all this, but today she realized this family truly needed them. Judy had also seen that Father Gordon had come here in his last moments, and the mystery of his death was buried here. He wanted to tell them something, so they had to do this. Hearing this, the Warrens finally agreed to help the Smurl family. This meant that only after an hour and 15 minutes into the movie did the real case actually begin. Before that it was all just build-up, which I think is the film's biggest letdown as usual. Ed set up his recorder and the Smurl family narrated everything from the beginning. Judy told Tony she had seen death and that some force wanted her to stay here. Now it became clear why the Smurl family was still alive, because the demon only wanted to bring Judy and the Warrens here. Suddenly Lorraine felt something. She touched a picture of the Smurl family's happy moments. Then she started and stopped a toy horse, but still felt something. Even their dog Simon was always scared and barking, since dogs can sense evil entities. Meanwhile in the kitchen, Ed was making pancakes for everyone. Tony told him why he had quit his job. One day a distress call came about a violent case. A man was beating his wife. Tony and his teammate went to check. As soon as a door opened, the man pointed a loaded gun at Tony and fired. But luckily the gun didn't go off and Tony survived. Was it luck, or maybe Judy's powers that saved him? That same day he decided to quit his job. He thought if something happened to him, how would he spend his life with Judy? How would he marry? That same day he bought Judy's engagement ring. Hearing this, Ed felt good knowing Tony truly cared for Judy and loved her. Judy meanwhile was trying to keep the children happy while Lorraine sensed something from upstairs. Judy took her mother's picture and because of the flash, Lorraine got scared. Then they both felt something coming from upstairs, so Lorraine went alone to check. There behind Judy was the Susie doll, which twin sister Karen came to take away. Anyone who clashed with a doll like Annabelle would surely like dolls. Lorraine checked the bed and saw some entity that showed its hands through the sheet and then vanished. Then we noticed that the gate had 3 small see-through squares symbolizing that the bigger gate, meaning the Conjuring 4 also included 1, 2, and 3. This suggested that this movie was the scariest of them all. Suddenly Lorraine went into the basement where she felt something. She finally understood what was happening in this house. Lorraine told Ed that there were 3 spirits here. The story was that in this house lived a lady, her mother, and the lady's husband. But the husband was cruel, so the lady had an affair with someone else. So when that man found out, he used an axe to kill both the mother and the daughter. Basically, these are restless spirits, and that man himself also died, and this was the same long-haired spirit we had seen earlier, the one who attacked Hyder with the axe. All those accidents that took place happened inside the basement because that's where they were killed. But Ed says, what's the big deal in this? He could get rid of spirits right away. He has calmed so many restless souls before. But Lorraine says that this is not the full story. This place used to be a farm, and these 3 spirits are just puppets. The real evil force is someone else hiding behind them, and Lorraine cannot see it. That was the most concerning part, and this was the reason why the evil was using these 3 spirits to haunt the Smurl family. But still no human had been possessed yet. The question was why? Because in the past, every single case had involved possession, so what exactly was this evil waiting for? They could not understand. Suddenly Judy starts hearing her mother's voice coming from upstairs. While checking, she reaches the attic. Obviously this evil entity wanted to meet her alone. It had already marked Judy in her childhood. Shockingly, we see the same evil mirror again, the one that was destroyed. But we already know such things cannot be destroyed. Now Judy makes the biggest mistake. She touches this mirror and a terrifying disturbance occurs. Then a chalk message appears on the wall, "Miss Me," which Annabelle used to write. But this was not Annabelle. This evil entity was using Judy's fear against her. Because Judy was most afraid of Annabelle, terrified Judy begins to run. But then she hears Karen's voice coming from a room. There in the corner sat the Annabelle doll. Suddenly the doll grows huge and begins chasing Judy. She falls down the stairs while trying to escape. And this is exactly what the evil does. It follows the 3 steps that the Warrens had already explained. First, infestation, when the demon shows its presence. Second, oppression, breaking Judy's mental state, which the evil had already done. Finally, possession, and this evil was after Judy. That's why it hadn't possessed anyone else in the Smurl family yet. The Warrens managed to catch Judy and she tells them there's something in the attic. When they check, they are shocked. The evil they had been avoiding all these years had returned. It had found them. Lorraine touches the mirror again, but this time she feels something is wrong. The mirror is no longer the same. It had changed. She no longer sensed the same evil presence there. Then the Warrens tell Judy about the cursed mirror and its history. In fact, when this happened at the very start of their careers, they were so scared that they ran away. They had no idea what happened to Victoria. They hadn't helped her. Suddenly Judy starts coughing, which frightens Dawn because she too had suffered from the same kind of cough during a traumatic incident. Now the Warrens decide that this mirror is the root of everything. They must take it to their museum basement and keep it locked there. Only then could it be contained. Tony was ready to help, but Ed warns that once they start this, they will be challenging the demon directly. They cannot turn back. They must take the mirror to the museum tonight itself. Tony, Jack, and Ed take up this dangerous task, knowing this night would be different. Everything was set, even the evil was ready to fight. Ed explains that they must wear gloves. No one must look into the mirror and they must take it out silently. Suddenly Simon the dog begins barking, sensing what's about to happen. As Jack and Ed carry the mirror, it becomes extremely heavy because the evil was trying everything possible to stop them. Meanwhile, Judy's condition worsens. She says she doesn't feel good. Tony tries to start the car, but it won't start. At the same time, the cloth covering the mirror falls off, the belts loosen, and Jack ends up looking into the mirror. He begins to sense the evil's presence. He collapses and Ed cannot carry the mirror alone. The mirror falls onto Jack's leg outside. Tony somehow manages to start the car and brings it around. But just then the spirit of the old grandmother who lived there appears. The car crashes and Tony, for the first time directly, experiences the presence of a spirit. The noise alerts Lorraine and the Smurl family. Lorraine feels something and rushes to Judy, where the toy horse is moving by itself. Judy is sitting in a corner already possessed. The evil entity says, "We have been waiting for you and Judy. Judy is ours, we will take her." Now Judy, in full possession, pushes Lorraine so hard that she falls straight into the basement and faints. The dog barks continuously, but Judy levitates it and throws it away. Judy is now completely possessed. Ed arrives and tries to convince Judy to fight back, but the evil twists Ed's heart, giving him a mini heart attack. His medicine falls to the ground. Tony, who was outside, is locked out by the demon. The gates won't open. He tries to enter through the basement where the Axeman is about to kill Lorraine, but Tony arrives just in time and saves her. There we also see the spirit of the Axeman's wife. Perhaps she was the one who helped Tony open the basement, because otherwise the evil would never have allowed it. Somehow Ed takes his medicine and recovers, with Lorraine and Tony supporting him. The Warrens tell the Smurl family to leave the house. Judy had gone upstairs to the attic and the demon only wanted her. That's why it never killed or possessed the Smurl family. It just haunted them. The real target was always Judy. And maybe Father Gordon had discovered this secret, which is why the demon killed him. The Warrens take the exorcism book to the attic where Judy has hung herself. They bring her down, but her breathing stops. They perform chest compressions, but then the entity begins to harm Ed again. Lorraine clearly sees the demonic hand pressing on her shoulder, but by God's grace both Judy and Ed survive. Suddenly the mirror levitates into the air, spinning violently. Ed begins the exorcism, but the evil traps Tony under the mirror. Ed's Bible catches fire and the evil form tells him to stay silent. But Ed does not give up. He presses the burning Bible against the mirror. The evil screams in agony and tries to throw everyone out of the window, wanting to take Judy with it. Ed and Tony try to protect Judy and Lorraine. Judy and Lorraine gather courage, saying that mere chance won't help. They must face the entity directly. Together they place their hands on the mirror and somehow they all banish the entity. The mirror is then locked in the Warrens museum. It is believed that the Smurl family continued to live in that house for 3 years after this incident. Finally, Ed accepts Tony and gives him the key to guard the museum, officially welcoming him as his son-in-law and part of the family. In the end, we see Judy and Tony's wedding, where guests include all the main characters from The Conjuring 1 to The Conjuring 3. We also see the real Judy and Tony and even James Wan himself. Before the movie ends, Lorraine tells Ed she has seen their future. They are grandparents, authors, and giving lectures that people believe their family will always remain happy as they have defeated the final demon. Then we see a montage of clips from all of the Warrens' cases from the beginning to the end. Now, some people say that there was also a post-credit scene where we get a glimpse of the mirror again, but in the version I watched, nothing like that was shown. If you have seen it, let me know in the comments. And that's how this beautiful horror Conjuring franchise continues to show us such chilling stories. And with that, this movie comes to an end. So friends, this was the story of The Conjuring, The Last Rites. I hope you enjoyed the explanation. I hope my explanation was clear enough. If you liked the video, give it a like. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe.